I don't see how we can make bigger enemies.
To be offended or frightened of everything.
So you've become like the sort of Tony Scarface of podcasting.
Show. That's my phone.
That's me on guitar.
That's. Hold on. Let me just get that. Sorry about that. Welcome to the. That's a great way to start the fucking show. Welcome to the morning show, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Sorry we're late. We're not gonna get into the details. There he is.
We were all having gay sex in the studio.
Poseidon, ladies and gentlemen, producing our show like always.
Because we're pro LGBT and we support Jaguar.
Oh God! Thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate you. Before me sitting is radio broadcast legend Ted Bird. How are you, Teddy?
I'm good. You?
I'm good.
My apologies to anybody who tried to download the audio version of Standing By the Terry and Ted podcast. New episode came out today, but only on YouTube so far.
Yeah,
we're having technical difficulties with the audio download, but hopefully that'll be taken care of within the next several months.
What is it, Friday the 13th today?
No, sir, not a bit.
Not quite. Sorry we weren't here last week, guys. I couldn't make it, but we're here this week. How you guys been?
Good. I hope this isn't our last show before the occupation.
Yo, we have to talk about it right off the bat. So Trump threatening to annex Canada is amazing and hilarious.
He didn't threaten anything. I think
he made a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah, but we know how the Trump man works.
No. He's trolling, and there's something.
He's definitely trolling, but here's the thing.
There's something amusing about this new way of doing politics, where you embrace whatever news comes out and you double down on it.
Yeah.
Elon Musk has been a pro.
Yeah.
When they nominated him for what was the new department,
DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency.
The first tweet he put out was the merch is going to be crazy. Yeah. So like they're doubling down on stupid things like this.
But he has fun with it. It's not like the doubling down you see on the other side from the left is just they're doubling down on pissing and moaning and being shitty losers.
Yeah.
Now you guys are saying he may be joking, but he could be also serious.
Nah.
Now, if that were to happen, it would place Canada as automatically as a global superpower. Just with the reserves of everything that we have, oil, precious metals, it would be insane. First of all, it would open the borders up completely. We wouldn't need any more borders to go to the U.S. It all would just become one landmass.
Right.
And we're right. Most cities, most of the population of Canada is near the border anyways, because most of Canada is uninhabitable. I mean, to me, it seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah. I like being Canadian, though.
No, hold on.
Yeah, I don't want to be American. I just want another prime minister.
Well, here's the thing. I think even if that happens, I think the United States would let us keep our sovereignty. How every state has their own culture. I think it would be it'll be
like sovereignty association.
Yeah, like you know how we think of Puerto Rico, like we don't even realize it's a state of the United States.
Well, it's not a state; it's a territory.
What is a state? Huh? It's one of the states.
No,
it's a territory.
It's not part of the U.S.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I think it's U.S. administered.
Then how come they get the vote?
No, I don't think Puerto Rico voted on it.
Yeah, they do.
Puerto Rico votes in the U.S. elections?
I don't know what exactly the relationship is, but they're not a state. Let's go back to the beginning. And
Yeah, you're right. It is a territory.
yeah. Let's go back to the beginning. How this all got started was when Trudeau went down to Mar-a-Lago.
Trudeau, surprise visit. Well, surprise to us because they did a pretty good job keeping it undercover.
Yeah.
And then we find out that he jumped on his private jet, flew right down to Florida, met up
multiple SUV. The guy who's preaching climate change and how we have carbon tax and how we all have to fucking ride bicycles. He takes his private jet and then multiple SUVs in his convoy to go to Mar-a-Lago.
Have you seen the convoy in person?
No, I've never seen it in person.
It's never ending.
Yeah.
It must be at least 40 cars.
Yeah.
Damn.
Anyway, he's at dinner with Trump, and they're talking about the tariffs. That
It was
Trump
a 3-hour private meeting with Donald Trump. And this is interesting because he didn't take any other
foreign visitors,
no
foreign
cabinet,
leaders.
Yeah, no cabinet ministers. Well, I think Dominique LeBlanc went, but he didn't assist the meeting. It was literally just Justin Trudeau and Donald Trump. They spoke about that whole, the alarming 25% tariff increase that Trump announced.
The joke was made at dinner.
Yeah,
and
and
Trudeau was saying, this you're going to destroy the Canadian economy with these tariffs, and Trump said, well, then maybe we should just make Canada the 51st state.
Yeah.
And everybody laughed. Yeah. And it was a joke.
It was a joke.
He was making a joke. And then it came out on, Fox News leaked the story. Peter Ducey from Fox News.
Is there a video about this?
No.
Okay, it's just a story. Okay.
Yeah, Peter Ducey from Fox News leaked the story, quoting a couple of people who were sitting at the same table as Trump and Trudeau. And, the usual suspects seized on it, and now it's become Trump's going to invade Canada.
No, this is what happened.
That's crazy.
That story came out, and I was watching the French media yesterday, and while I was watching it, Trump posts that picture that I'm sure that everyone has seen by now, where he's standing at
the top of a mountain with a Canadian flag.
Is it the Rockies? I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it's supposed to be.
It's a mountain, bro. It's AI.
Yeah. No. It's that peak there is
the Matterhorn. It looks like the Matterhorn.
Yeah.
That's in Switzerland.
Is it?
Yeah.
There was another one I think they were mentioning in California. Is there like it doesn't matter. With a big Canada flag.
And he posted that, right? So he's trolling.
Yeah, and he posted, "Oh, Canada."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of people looking at this and laughing, they just hours spent talking about this useless tweet. Or it wasn't a tweet, it was on his other Truth Social, whatever it was.
Yeah. And I see people on Twitter going, will you fight for Canada when Trump invades? Get a hold of yourself. Yeah, seriously, eh? Honest to God.
These are the same people that want to put tampons in men's bathrooms.
Exactly.
Are they
exactly the same
Shut
crowd.
the fuck up and shove a fucking tampon up your ass. Oh my God. Are you going to fight for Canada? He's not going to invade Canada.
Isn't that crazy though?
Yeah.
How they take it to the extreme.
Yeah, well, they doubled. This isn't just doubling down. This is like fucking quintupling down. It's so insane.
The guy's laughing at the fucking media for even considering this to be a serious matter of discussing on whatever news panel or news story or whatever.
Yeah. No, the tariffs are a serious matter.
The story.
That's serious.
That's the story. The story is that the Canadian Prime Minister met with Trudeau to discuss whatever. There was a private dinner afterwards. Okay, that's the story. Say that. He's going to invade Canada. Like, what the fuck's wrong? Like, why is that even here? I'm not blaming, and I'm not judging the U.S. media. But even here, I told you, I saw that in the middle of the LCN. God, I can't remember what they were talking about. And then they just started talking about that. But it kept going on and on. Was
LCN treating it as if it was an actual possibility that Trump was going to annex Canada?
No. They mentioned it because he put it on his social media. But then they went off into this whole thing. Okay, what does this mean? It's like it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. So
it doesn't fucking mean anything.
I'm on Twitter right now and I'm looking at a bunch of comments on what people think. And somebody wrote something that I was thinking, and I didn't really have a way to put it into words. He wrote, "I don't think this is trolling. He's speaking directly to the citizens of this country. In one simple tweet, he is showing respect for the nation, fear for its future, and empathy to those suffering due to the current Marxist government.
I don't think so. I think it's Donald Trump saying, "Oh,
Yeah, watch,
I
watch
honestly think-
this.
yeah.
He's calling Elon and going, "Hey, Elon, watch this.
Yeah.
Look at Truth Social."
He called you, "Hey, Elon, I need an AI image.
Yeah.
I need it to be on the mountaintop with a Canadian flag. I need it like yesterday. Please send it to me." It's a stupid fucking thing. Anyway, but this is making waves. You know, this whole and here's the other interesting thing: Justin Trudeau going down to the U.S. in a rushed. I mean, it wasn't rushed. It wasn't like pack your bags, we're leaving. There was preparation. You can't just fly, knock, Mr. President.
You got to be invited, don't you? He can't just.
Well, he probably called him and said, "Listen, I want to come down in
Yeah.
the next 48 hours or 3 days or whatever."
And you said
can
before
you
we went
arrange?
on,
Can you prepare?
you said that was a smart move by Trudeau.
I think it was a smart move, but we'll get to that. But before that, it's still fascinating to me that you have the Canadian Prime Minister that flew down to the U.S. to meet a president-elect, not Biden.
Yeah.
Biden can't do fuck all.
No, well, Biden had a busy week.
Yeah. No, but
Doing other
can you
things.
imagine that?
Yeah.
It's like completely disregarding the sitting president. and
Well, he's a
saying,
lame duck. There's never been a lamer duck
isn't
president.
but isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, well, it's forward thinking, and
And that's why I'm saying it's smart.
Yeah,
And let's not forget one thing. Trudeau is under enormous pressure in Canada. I mean, he's walking on this tightrope, and it's like he's stuck in the middle.
well, he's not even walking on a tightrope. The rope is broken, and he's hanging onto
He's
it for
hanging
dear
on.
life.
Yeah, exactly. And you have Jack Meat hanging off from his feet as
Exactly,
well.
yeah,
Don't let go,
yeah.
Justin. So he has no choice. He has to show some sort of, some form of leadership. And I think that he had no choice. He had no choice because unless he stepped up and did something, he'd be stuck here facing all the critics across the floor, consistently ask him, "What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? What are we going to propose?" Like all these questions. So I think the smartest thing for him to have done, and he did it, good for him. Get on a fucking plane, go sit down with Donald Trump, have a discussion. We don't know what happened in the discussion. I think it was all show. I don't think anything concrete
Yeah, well, when
was
Trudeau
discussed.
came out of the meeting, all he said was, "We had a good meeting."
Exactly.
And that was it.
That's it. Because it's for show. It's for him to come back and say, "Guys, look, I took a flight. I went and sat down with Donald Trump. Let's relax. There's room for us to negotiate. Let's not alarm everyone." And at least now he has an answer to give to his adversaries.
Yeah, but it's not going to reverse his political fortunes to the point where all of a sudden he's so far behind in the polls.
Yeah.
That's not a game changer.
Maybe, I
It's
don't
not
know. I don't
you
know.
think that could be a game changer?
No. I think he's done. I think his career in politics is done. But it also depends on how long he can survive. And I sent you guys another article. There's a few confidence votes on the horizon in the next coming weeks. I think there's one or two before they break for the holidays, and there's a few after that. There's one actually on Thursday, so tomorrow. We already know that the NDP is not going to vote in favor, so they're supporting again the government. So there's a bunch of those that are aligned in the coming weeks. Can he pull it off? I don't know. We've had this conversation so many times. I've been wrong so many times on how much Justin Trudeau can fucking extend his stay as a prime minister. I don't even know what.
Well, and at this point, all it is, it's a stay. It's a stay of
He's
execution.
just buying time. He's buying time.
I agree with you that he's done. He's cooked. I can't see.
But
what could possibly reverse his the trend in his unpopularity to the point where he could win the next election.
Here's where I'm at this point right now. After this meeting happened in the U.S. and I think he came back to Canada, he sat down and he met with the leaders of the opposition. He explained to them a little, probably what they discussed.
So with Poilievre and Singh,
all the leaders of the opposition. This
what's
happened.
his buddy from the bloc?
Yves-François Blanchet
right.
and Elizabeth May from
Christ.
we're
Hi guys.
You've seen that video, no? I think I sent to you. It was some cocked. I don't know. They were trying to pull her off.
Yeah, that was when that was after they gave the money to buddy, terrorist buddy.
Oh, Omar, Amir, Cotter or whatever.
Yeah. And she was up there calling him a great Canadian, and she was fucking hammered.
Oh, they were pulling her off the fucking mic.
Yeah.
It was sad to see.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So anyway, so he met with the leaders of the opposition, explained to them a little the strategy, probably a little bit of what was discussed. Nothing is being solved. Nothing is being solved. First of all, because Trump can't do anything right now. So in any case, we have to wait until he gets.
Yeah, January 20th.
January 20th.
Yeah, it's my birthday, by the way, if you want to buy
Is it?
some.
Oh, okay,
just,
cool. Good
just
to
keep
know.
that in
Good to
mind.
know.
You know,
Good
if
to
you
know.
want to get me an inauguration present.
Perfect. It'll be the greatest president ever. So January 20th, he gets inaugurated. Nothing will happen before the end of January, that's for sure. I don't think that the tariffs with Canada is his priority. You know, you got to get in, settle in. So this is probably going to drag into maybe February, March. And that's when we fall into the budget. So I doubt that Justin Trudeau could negotiate anything whatsoever before the budget. And that's going to be crucial. And the reason why I say this is crucial, because at that budget, it's very difficult for me to imagine any opposition supporting the budget, because we're into an election year. How are you going to support the government's plan going forward with a budget that is obviously going to be in the negative, for sure? Okay, I mean, it's going to be a deficit budget. And then campaign on that, but like it makes no sense to me how any party in the opposition could accept that budget. So I have a feeling that we're going to be in. I thought we were going to be already in an election for Christmas, like a Christmas election. Doesn't look like it's the case. So I mean, the only other alternative for me is spring, which is budget. Now, are they going to have in a window of 2 months enough time to negotiate a whole new trade agreement between three countries? I don't think so. I don't think so. So there's nothing that Justin Trudeau can do. I think Donald Trump's team understands that also. I think they see that he's on the way out. And why would Donald Trump risk and waste his time negotiating with a guy who risks losing his next election rather than just waiting, get the new guy in? And start fresh with a brand new Canadian administration. That's what I would do if I were Donald Trump. So,
Poseidon, I just sent you a direct message on Twitter with a very funny clip of Trump explaining his plans to annex Canada. It's from a comedian named Danny Polischuk, who's really good with AI.
Oh, this is AI, yeah?
Yeah,
I could see it right away.
Yeah, it's really, really funny. I saw it this morning. And at first I was like, here it is. This is good.
Hold on.
have we heard this guy before? I think so, eh?
Danny Polischuk?
Yeah.
I think he comes on at the end of this.
No, but it wasn't he the one that did the one with Olivia Chow in Toronto?
No, that's Ben Bankus. I'll send Poseidon that one too. Fuck, he's good. I saw him at a comedy club downtown a couple of weekends ago. Brilliant.
Okay,
But this is funny.
True writing, man.
Yeah, go.
People of Canada, the Great White North, as they call it, except it's not so great anymore, is it? I call it the Great Sad North, because that's what it is, sad. On January 20th, I will be slapping huge tariffs on all products coming from your country. The economic consequences will be devastating, but they don't have to be. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was just with me at Mar-a-Lago, and I suggested that I would make Canada the 51st state. It's called Manifest Destiny, and it's happening whether you hosers like it or not. You should have never let us get Alaska. That was your first mistake. It makes no sense that you have to drive through Canada to get to America. Not any longer. There are a lot of great benefits to joining America. We have a great military, the greatest in the world. You'll be able to move from those awful cold shitholes you live in to warm shitholes. Quebec will no longer be a thing. You don't like it, you can all move to France. All Tim Hortons will now become Dunkin' Donuts. Curling will be banned. It's a ridiculous sport, if you can even call it that. As for your precious ice hockey, this will be the hardest part to deal with. But who said there wouldn't be growing pains? The American and Canadian national teams will merge. Say goodbye to your silly little leaf. Say hello to Stars and Stripes and Bald Eagles. Also for all those celebrities that moved to Canada because I one sucks to be you.
If you like that, make sure
This is the comedian who does it here. This is Danny Polischek. I think he's been.
subscribe and follow for more.
I'm
Funny.
Yeah,
Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Follow and subscribe to Danny's perfect content.
yeah, he's
That's
good.
perfect content.
He's really good. I just sent you the Ben Bankus clip. Ben Bankus is a stand-up comic who does a really funny imitation of Olivia Chow.
Before you play it, did you see the latest thing that she announced? Some new investments in the Toronto subway or whatever.
That's what this is about here. Yeah. He's so funny. Yeah. Roll it back to the start there, Poseidon.
Toronto, I'm ordering a 50-pass subway car with a Chinese food for all the fellow riding. Thank you, my eyeball is popping right out of my head. Isn't that amazing? How much? It's crazy. Look at my eyeball. Everybody's dead. Anyway, I support the Palestinian people, right? To go to
The Palestinian.
the Jewish neighborhood and make the Jew feel very scared. That is what I support because I'm a liberal. I'm a liberal. And you know what a liberal do? We destroy the economy. We make everybody impoverished. And then we make sure all the homeless people doing drug in front of the children and make sure all the school teaching the children how to be a homosexual and make sure they all teach them the transgender. So that is what important to me. Make sure we have enough subway car for all the poor people to travel around the city, going from homosexual to Palestinian protest and so on and so forth.
He is so funny. He is so funny.
Ah, shit! I want to see the comments. Wow!
Yeah.
Wow!
He takes no prisoners. He's got that Norm Macdonald approach to comedy. If it's funny, it's funny.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, then
Don't watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, exactly.
don't watch it.
Yeah,
Don't watch it. No, but guys, and for anyone watching, go find the actual clip. Like, there's obviously comedy, but find the real clip, the actual announcement. That
Olivia
she
Chow?
made.
Yeah.
Have you seen the actual?
No.
Ted, it's incredible. You're watching this and you're like, how is this the fucking mayor of Canada's biggest? Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
That whole Toronto. That's
Yeah.
true. That's how she starts.
She did that? Yeah. Toronto. We teach our children to be homosexual.
You wanted more Metro? Well,
The Palestinians.
What? I thought it was like some comedy skit. Like, what's going on here? Like, you're a fucking. It's a serious city, man.
Yeah.
It's Toronto. I don't know. Anyway,
Well, I'm hoping that the pendulum is swinging back the other way, and the grown-ups are going to be.
I got a lot of messages. Actually, right now, right before we went on, I was exchanging with some guy, and he's like, "Oh, this is a game changer for Trudeau. This obviously wasn't written in the cards. This might change everything." I was like, "What, dude? He's done. It's over."
Oh, he's thinking that Trudeau's trip to Mar-a-Lago is going to salvage his political fortunes.
Yeah. Like it's gonna be a show of leadership to the point that is going to boost his credibility.
That's wishful thinking.
He's done. He's done. It's
That doesn't mean it's a bad move, as you said.
No,
it was
I
a
think
politically smart move.
He had no other
demonstrated leadership.
option. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, he had to do it. He had to do it. And I know we bashed the guy, but the good stuff. I mean, we have to highlight.
We'll give credit where credit is due.
Exactly.
That's called being objective.
Exactly.
There's not a whole lot of that goes on these days.
He had to do that, and good on him that he did.
What is Poilievre's reaction to the tariffs been? Because I haven't seen or read anything about him reacting to it. Because he's probably going to be the next prime minister before the end of next year.
Yeah.
So he's the one who's going to have to be dealing with Trump longer term.
I don't remember the figures, but I do remember him on election day, in the U.S., obviously, election day. He made a post saying that whoever the president is, he has to, as a prime minister, he wants to bring money back to Canada. He mentioned some figure that Canadians lose to the U.S. in their trade, and Basically, he came out and said, and he just blocked everyone from ever comparing him to Trump because he's like, I don't care who wins. I'm in it for Canada's interest. And this is the reality. This is what we lose every single year to the U.S. And it's time that we bring money back.
He's talking about trade deficit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's time that we bring that money back home. And I look forward to working with a new president or whatever. He said that it was like, your standard message, but in his message, he used some, I don't know the figures. I wish I had them, but it doesn't really matter. So he has a very neutral stance. Obviously, between Biden and Trump, I would assume that he prefers someone like Trump, much more aligned in policy.
Yeah. And whatever Trump says, like Trump's 25% tariffs, he's a deal maker. So that's an opening gambit,
but
right?
25%. Look, Trump isn't an idiot. And I've been listening to Jean Charest, actually, who's this whole week and last week, he's been all over the news.
Oh, yeah?
Explaining to people how the new, oh, God damn, I'm losing my words. Jesus Christ. The new trade deal with, because there's a new, I can't remember what the acronym is, Canada, US, Mexico, whatever trade thing that they renegotiated.
Like a revamped free trade agreement?
Yeah. When Chrystia Freeland renegotiated, I can't remember what the new name was, it doesn't matter. He's an expert. He knows exactly from A to Z what that entails. He's the one that negotiated the initial one. He was part of that whole deal with Brian Mulroney.
Well, he's a venerable statesman.
Absolutely.
Rich, yeah.
And he knows a lot of stuff. So he's been all over the media talking. And his argument...
It's interesting. It must be the French media because I haven't seen him on...
He's done
English
CBC,
media too,
he did, I think, CTV as well.
Okay.
If you search his name, he's gonna a bunch of results are gonna come out. And his argument is, guys, don't fucking stress. Stop panicking. Okay, the 25% is a number. He's a businessman. He's a negotiator.
He wrote a book called The Art of the Deal.
Yeah, so it's not going to be 25%. He knows it. So for him, it's aim high. So that if you drop, at least it's still a satisfactory number. But what Jean Charest says also is that the economies are so freaking integrated. Trump knows this. You can't slap on these monstrous tariffs without already knowing that it's going to impact your economy and your employers and your employees and your whole business sector. There's so many things that before, touching the final product that comes from the U.S., it has gone back and forth through the border several times because there's parts that come from Canada, they go back to the U.S., they come back to Canada for whatever. It
was like when my buddy Zach was in here explaining the process of making electric cars. Yeah. That wasn't just from Canada to the U.S. That's like across the Pacific Ocean and back.
Yeah.
Explain for people who aren't entirely sure, and I count myself among them, what exactly a tariff is and how it works.
I'm not sure either. I'm not an expert, but basically, if you're trading these cups and you want to buy them from the U.S., obviously it costs. There's a tax to either export it or to import it. And that's all it is. The problem, and if it was only that, like things that come in from China, for example, okay, they come in, we tax their products. That's fine. It's okay. It costs cheap anyway to bring them in. But in an integrated economies like Canada and the U.S., where, for example, a car, okay, you get a Chrysler. It's an American car, but there are parts that come from Windsor, Ontario, back to some other factory in the U.S., and then back to some other place where they make the chassis, and then back to another place in Canada for whatever electronics, and then back. So it goes back and forth so many times before the final product is made. There's negotiations in those in the trade deals where don't fucking tax me on these products, because at the end of the day you're going to tax the whole fucking product, the completed,
the finished product.
So this is where it gets complicated. Like softwood lumber has been a huge problem here in Quebec, because we know that there's American companies, they drive up, they cut the trees, they bring them down, they cut them into planks, plywood, 2x4s, whatever, and then they sell them back to Canada. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
So and every time that we've had to renegotiate the agreement, Quebec gets screwed on the softwood lumber. It's like, dude, and you know what? And this is something that's going to happen here in Quebec because it's been talked about for years. Clean water. Clean water is, I think in the next 50 years, it'll be the most valuable commodity. And Quebec has 3% of the world's potable water. We have a huge source.
That's potable, not portable.
Yeah.
Potable meaning
Portable.
drinkable.
You can drink it.
Yeah.
And Quebec gets screwed. And there's been talks, and this is not new. I mean, they're talking about it now because there's a leadership race in the PLQ and the Quebec Liberals. And every time there's this renewal kind of thing, they always talk about nationalization of water in Quebec. And it's never happened. And it's not something that is new. It's been.
You mean the way they've nationalized hydroelectricity?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think I'm in favor of it because when you have all these bottle companies that come into Quebec, they grab our water, they bottle it in Quebec, and they ship it out to the U.S. and then we buy all these Esca bottles, Naya, whatever the fuck it is.
Do you think that water's actually coming out of a stream or a lake, or do you think that's coming out of a tap? Do you think they're just fucking filling those bottles with tap water?
I think they have installations where it's purified and
Well, that's good to know because every time I buy bottled water, I think, am I buying shit that I could get out of my
You
tap?
have some guy eating Cheetos next to the sink.
Exactly. Yeah.
No. I'm sure that the process is well done.
Right.
But in a lot of these cases, this is our own water.
Yeah.
And Quebec makes zero. We had Denis Coderre on this week, and Denis Coderre says a lot of fucking things on our podcast.
Politiquement parlant. Yeah.
He says a lot of fucking things. You don't know what to believe and what's true or not, but he mentioned a figure that got me curious, and I haven't verified this, by the way, so just telling you guys straight out, he's in favor of nationalizing water as well. And he said, the U.S. sold for over $350 billion of water bottles. And that, I can't remember the percentage he gave, came from Canada. And how much of that stayed in Quebec? Fucking peanuts. Peanuts. So if we nationalize our water, you want to come and take water, no fucking problem. This is what it is. This is what we get. This is the cut we have. And you have a quota. That's it. Kind of like in the Middle East. You want to go dig up for oil? Come, let's go. But this is what we want. It's our oil.
Right.
We're going to make money from it.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Yeah. So why aren't we doing that, right? And we take it for granted. But, there's a lot of places on this planet that don't have fucking drinkable water.
Yeah.
And we have it. So I think we should protect it. Anyway, so going back to what you're saying, I mean, we went far. I'm not an expert in trade negotiations, but it's very complex. There's a lot of industries that are integrated, the U.S. and Canada. Slapping tariffs only on Canada is going to have a direct impact on American manufacturers and American businesses. For sure. Like
So ultimately, they'll strive to reach a mutually beneficial.
Of course. This is just an opportunity for Trump to reopen the negotiation.
Yeah.
And tweak a few things, maybe add a few others. They already. I know for the something that was mentioned in the news already. Justin Trudeau agreed to buying helicopters and drones from the U.S. to monitor the border. So already Trump is starting to get what he wants. Has nothing to do with tariffs. I mean, they just sold, I don't know for how many billions of dollars worth of this type of equipment. So that's it. You're going to play in a little bit. You're going to play into the game a little bit. There's a lot of suggestions that I'm hearing that maybe Justin Trudeau is going to hire Jean Charest as his chief negotiator. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But all this to say that, and it goes back to what we're saying about the inauguration on January 20th. If you're Trump, okay, and you start the negotiations day one, all right, January 21st, you start the negotiations, okay? Why would you negotiate with someone who risks losing an imminent election? Because we don't know when the elections are going to happen, and risk in the middle of the negotiations having another leader that may come and say, fuck everything, we're changing course.
So what are you saying? He should wait until after the election?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that they're probably going to stretch it out. Or unless Trump is smart and say, listen, this guy is on his way out. He fucking probably needs a deal to run his campaign and squeeze everything out of fucking Justin Trudeau. But I don't think Justin Trudeau will be dumb enough to fucking give him anything, because then
He's pretty dumb.
Yeah, he is. But then he would have to go explain to the Canadian electorate during his election why he lost everything. So it's not, strategically, I don't know.
Maybe Trump's already got some back channel communications going on with Polyev too.
I don't know about that. I'm not sure. But for sure, there's all these public servants. We have our embassies down there, and we have trade missions and everything. The machine has already been working. I mean, Justin Trudeau, like we said, he doesn't just knock on the door in Florida, hey, dude, I'm here to talk. No, there's been work developed already before. Ever since Trump got elected, people have lost sleep looking at every single industry, numbers, statistics, money going back and forth, trade deficits. So it's a very complex procedure. Let's just hope that we don't get the short end of the stick. Especially for our dairy farmers, the pork, dairy, and poultry industries that are huge in Canada. They've always been protected. I don't know. Are they going to maintain that? The softwood lumber is another. So we'll see what happens.
It's a big deal for us. I think it's less of a big deal in the States. I think that Americans are focused on lots of other things besides trade with Canada in terms of the transition from the Biden to the Trump, second Trump administration. Like it's been fun watching people lose their minds over some of his cabinet and other appointments. Kash Patel as the new director of the FBI. I don't know much about him except that he wants to clean house in the FBI. He wants to basically disassemble the FBI bureaucracy. He says on day one he wants to shut down the Hoover Building and take those 7,000 people working for the FBI in the J. Edgar Hoover Building in Washington, D.C., and send them all across the United States to arrest criminals and solve crime. And people are losing their fucking minds. And it's the usual suspects who are losing their minds, right? And I think the way I look at it is if the mainstream media, and especially if MSNBC and CNN are freaking out over a Trump nominee, then that says to me probably a good pick.
Yeah, he's mastered the art of pissing people off. He's gone and found people that have been very critical on all fronts, right? Like even Tulsi Gabbard, putting her in charge of intelligence. And there's a bunch of them. Finally, his pick for Attorney General stepped down. I don't think he had
Matt Gaetz.
Yeah, I don't think there was another option for him. I mean, with the allegations, we spoke about that, I think, 2 weeks ago, on sex trafficking and all. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, he's not a serious candidate. But all this to say now with the FBI thing, and even Tulsi Gabbard in charge of intelligence, because immediately they come up with everything, right? Meeting with Assad in Syria and all these people that the U.S.
Well, you can dig up dirt on anybody.
Of course. My fear is that, and we hear about different operations happening in the world, and those are made public, right? But imagine how many things, how many situations are avoided because of the intelligence that the U.S. has all over the fucking world. Imagine how many terrorist acts are blocked, or they're picked up on because of either the FBI or the CIA that we don't know of, because everything is. They're not issuing.
They're not issuing news releases.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, we stopped.
It's the same way that Mossad doesn't hold a whole lot of news conferences.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So imagine a situation where you bring in individuals who are just scrap everything. Fuck this. We're cutting the bureaucracy. We're cutting the fat, and you impact directly intelligence operations that are beneficial for the U.S. You understand? This is why it's so tricky, the U.S., because the bureaucracy is so goddamn huge, and it's a monster.
Yeah. Do you think the deep state is a thing?
I think it might be.
Yeah.
I think it might be. I don't see why it wouldn't.
Yeah. To one extent or another, I believe that it's a thing. What's interesting is that, Trump in 2016 said he was going to drain the swamp, right? Yeah. So, but I don't think he had any idea what he was getting into when he was in his first term as president. But now he knows. He does, Now he knows what he's getting into. So I think that he's going to be a lot more effective in terms of draining the swamp and trimming the fat and making government more efficient. And I think that, having Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy run this Department of Government Efficiency is going to be
those two.
A big part
don't
of that.
Stress me one bit.
No, me either.
At all.
But people are freaking out.
Yeah, because
they're not elected. They're who elected Elon Musk? Well, nobody. But he's the president.
Nobody running the machine is elected.
Exactly. They're all bureaucrats. These are just two higher. These guys are going to be bureaucrats, but they're going to be higher profile bureaucrats.
And they're going to be close to the president, which is. It's not news. I mean, it's what happens. You pick your most trusty partners to run the departments that you need and that you want to have a close eye on, and that they have a direct connection to you. It's standard procedure. The only problem here is that the individuals that he's choosing are high profile individuals who have said whatever they've said in the past. They're controversial, but at the end of the day, I want to see the results. And for me, when it comes to the security and intelligence, and that's very delicate. Not for the U.S., because let's not forget, Canada benefits immensely from the U.S. intelligence. We don't have an intelligence. Even that is very much integrated with the U.S., right?
Well, we have CSIS. Yeah, you don't think CSIS is a heavy hitter, a big player?
Yeah, CSIS. Yeah. That's who sounds the alarms in the Middle East. We're keeping the West safe. You have CSIS.
No. But I mean, CSIS is a domestic security. Look, I know CSIS isn't out there like the CIA.
I'm not bashing. I think we have and the collaboration is there and it exists. It's existed for years. I think they're doing a great job.
Yeah, I understand that they're not on the scale of the CIA and that they're not operating internationally.
What I'm trying to say is that what you want is to be able to pick up activity before it gets to your land, to your country. You understand? Yeah. And the U.S. is a pro at that.
Yeah.
Because they have people stationed everywhere in the world. They're monitoring channels that we don't even know exist. Of course, how September 11 happened, nobody knows yet. It's like this huge conspiracy theory. But that's what I was telling you before. How many of these potential acts have been eliminated because someone picked something up in some cell in Amsterdam that was connected to God knows where, you know what I mean? So they have all this network working, and we benefit from that as well. Canada benefits from that as well. Yeah. So I don't know. Like when you want to touch that, for me, I'm like, my initial thought is, okay, you need to cut the fat. I get it, but don't make any stupid moves that may potentially have a direct impact on these operations that are crucial to your security.
Yeah, but the FBI is more of a law enforcement. It's a domestic law enforcement agency.
They have an international arm as well.
Yeah.
You know that podcast you sent me? I can't remember the name.
John Kiriakou?
Yeah. He mentioned several times.
Did you listen to that whole thing?
Dude,
wasn't that good? Wasn't that fucking good?
It was 2 episodes or 3 episodes?
2 parts.
From beginning to end.
Yeah.
My wife was like, dude, are you with us today? I'm, like, I'm busy.
Yeah.
I'm busy. Right now, I'm busy.
Yeah.
It was an incredible.
Yeah, it was great insight into the sort of thing that you were just talking about. How
it was the real life.
What happens behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Yeah.
And there's probably so much more that we don't know about because he can only talk about what's declassified.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And this is another thing that Kash Patel has been talking about. If he becomes head of the FBI, about declassifying, longstanding documents, including documents about the Kennedy assassination. I mean, 60 years later, do we still really know what happened, what was behind the Kennedy assassination? Yeah. Because I don't think it was just the older I get, the more I start
Suspicious
to
you.
Yeah, the more I start to to look like when I was younger, I was like, the government would never do anything that was not in our best interests.
Yeah, right.
And the older I get, the more cynical I become, and the more I look at things and I go, fuck, man, that's. I don't know, really? Lee Harvey Oswald? I know he was in the Marines and they trained them and they're good shots and all, but one guy and the fucking.
You've seen Oliver Stone's movie, JFK?
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a long time.
What a great movie.
Yeah.
What a great movie. Wasn't it that movie that reopened the whole investigation into JFK? They re-examined the files.
Yeah. Dennis Miller did a great bit on, like Lee Harvey Oswald he was arrested for assassinating JFK, and then during a jail transfer, he was shot to death by a Las Vegas nightclub owner. What the fuck was he doing in the basement? And that was Dennis Miller's whole bit was, how did he get into the basement of the Dallas Police Department? Hey, boss, there's a titty bar owner here, and he's got a handgun. I'll let him in. No problem.
That's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. So, I agree with you. There are certain things that need to be declassified. And it's strange that it hasn't yet, because every 30 years they declassify, every 40 years?
And, the Vietnam War, the whole premise of the Vietnam War stunk to high heaven. The 2003 invasion of Iraq, which was all premised on, Saddam has weapons of mass destruction, so we have to invade Iraq and head him off to the past.
That's been debunked already.
Yeah. And but no one ever fucking says anything about that.
Yeah.
That was just like the United States government has gotten a complete pass on that.
Yeah.
There was never any International War Crimes Tribunal over the Americans invading Iraq on a false premise.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing just makes me think, fuck, man, like, who's really running the show, and do they have our best interests at heart? Like the best Eisenhower warned about when Dwight D. Eisenhower left office back in the 1950s, or I think 1960. Kennedy was elected in 1960, right? And I think Eisenhower was his immediate predecessor. And he talked about and warned about the military-industrial complex. And it is a thing. It does exist.
Yeah.
And it profits off of war.
Yeah.
And, people talk about these neocon war hawks in Washington, like that's a thing. And that's, and people get fucking rich off of war.
Yeah. I mean, look, there are some lobbies that are just disgusting huge in the U.S. And we spoke about this during the last episode, the one before, about political funding. See, this is something that, and in Canada too, we have huge lobby groups, right? But the fact that in Canada, you cannot have private businesses funding political parties makes a huge freaking difference.
Yeah. And you can in the States?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, businesses could fund parties, and there's no fucking limits, and you know what I mean? So, yeah, there's a pharmaceutical lobby. I mean, I know about Quebec. I mean, I'm assuming the same thing in Ottawa, but there's a huge pharmaceutical lobby over here. I remember when my boss used to be the chairman, he used to chair the Committee on Health and Social Services. Do you have any idea on a regular day how many pharmaceutical companies would call us to meet with him because they were discussing whatever bill or they were doing whatever study, It was crazy. It was crazy. And it's not even a fraction, like a speck of what must be happening in the U.S. Yeah. It's not like the military. Are you out of your mind? I mean, fuck, yeah, of course. It's like the biggest part of their budget, I think, goes to their military. You think Lockheed Martin doesn't have a direct fucking contact to the president's office? No matter who the president is, they don't give a shit. They don't care. They don't care. They fund everyone. Democrats, how much do you want? Here, take it. Oh, Republicans, here, take it. I saw that over here in Quebec, where we had rich business people back in the day when the limit was, wait for it, $3,000, Wow. Back in those days. And it was per party per year. And we had, rich business people that would support us. And they would tell us, listen, I gave to so-and-so from the Parti Québécois. And last year I gave to whatever from the ADQ. back in in the ADQ days, and they would give to the liberals. Dude, they had their hands everywhere. They're like, I don't know who's going to govern tomorrow. Look, we're all friends.
Yeah.
We're all friends here.
Yeah, grease everybody's palm just to play it safe.
You want to
eh?
help, Ted? I got your back, buddy. Don't worry. Good luck. I support you. Take it.
Funny you mentioned Lockheed Martin. My daughter, before she moved to France and married somebody else, she was dating a guy here, and a computer guy, IT guy, and he got a job with McDonnell Douglas. And I said, "Oh yeah, what are you going to do for them?" Can't tell you. I'd have to kill you. Yeah, because they're a weapons, or they're connected with the weapons. Like I think they're an aircraft company. They're not McDonnell Douglas, but they have
they do parts. I think
I'm not sure what they do, but they're connected with with the military. There's a military component.
Of course, any huge industry that gets government funding. They're the kings.
That was funny though. The look on his face. And, oh yeah, what are you going to do for those? Like stupid me. I don't so fucking naive. I don't know. Oh yeah, McDonnell Douglas. They're a pretty big company. What are you going to do for them? And he's like, you don't want to know. I can't tell you.
Sorry. Oh man. So is the bureaucracy big? Is there a deep state? I do believe. That there is.
Well, again, Dennis Miller says, and I think I've told you this joke before, part of his routine, where when you get elected president, the first two things that happen is they let you give the alien corpse at Roswell, a titty twister, and then they take you in the basement of the White House and they open up the "here's how really fucked up things are" binder.
And I think it's true. And just to go back to what you were saying, at what point is this even controllable? I mean, these guys that are going to come in and we're going to cut 7,000 jobs, blah, blah, blah. We're going to send them to fight crime. Can you even really do that? Because in my opinion, and I don't know anything, the FBI, the CIA, all these departments in the U.S. have gotten so big that
and powerful
that they are their own government within the government.
Well, that's the deep state.
I think so. I think so. So, you can be Trump, you can be Biden, you can be whoever the fuck you want. These guys are working on things that will shape the U.S.'s international policy for the next 20 years. It's not Donald Trump that's going to come in and suddenly change shit around. These guys have been working, and it goes back to that episode that podcast.
John
Kiriakou, where you think they're waiting for the president's orders to act on whatever the hell the kind of lead they have in some Middle East. No, they pick up a fucking phone call, they make a phone call, they have unlimited budget. This is what I need. Send over a plane with 50,000 guns, jeeps, cars.
We were talking about the raid on the, I don't know if it was an ISIS guy or an Al-Qaeda guy.
The Pakistani guy that they
Yeah. And what did he say? In 24 or 48 hours, he had everything he needed.
Had everything he needed.
A fucking massive military transport plane landed in the middle of the night with everything he needed.
You think they get the green light from the president's office?
Yeah.
Fuck no, man.
Yeah. But you know what? I get the impression, unless he's a great actor, I think that Trump he's the one guy who's willing to question or take on the deep state. And I think that's why they hate him so much. He's at least independent minded, and he's not a puppet. He's his own man. Or at least as much as you can be in that office. He's not a complete puppet, which Biden was, and which Kamala would have been. We got to talk about...
Speaking of Kamala, are you going to talk about Kamala's video, the statement she made?
No, go ahead.
We're not going to mention Kamala. She finally, after her defeat, she published a video thanking all her supporters. You haven't seen?
See again. I only saw the one. I only saw the AI version where she's drinking while she's doing it.
Yeah. That's fucking funny. Yeah. But the reality is, Ted, that she was smashed.
Well, she sure looked like it.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. What the fuck was that?
Like it. And
how quote unquote presidential did she look in that message? Leaning on her elbows.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest here. We came to your ball game. It's like, holy shit, somebody stop her. Like, I'm sure she didn't, wake up one morning by herself, turn on the camera and record. There must have been people around her. They should have told her, listen, this doesn't work.
And people were posting videos of that statement, or of a picture of her making that statement side by side with like headshots from.
Where she looked nice and made up and all pretty.
Oh yeah, she looked friggin' gunned, man.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you Poseidon. I'm gonna send you another DM
On Twitter.
on the Twitters. Yeah, I'll send it to you. Yeah, there were a few of them. I just sent one.
What were you going to say? Sorry, I interrupted you.
I wanted to. Well, let's look at this first. This is another AI. Some more AI comedy of her making her statement.
But it's
Hold on.
It's so well made, though.
Yeah. Bottle of Hennessy. What's Hennessy? Scotch?
Ever let anybody take your power from you?
Cognac. Is it cognac?
You have the same power that you did before November 5th.
But you're right. She's gunned.
And you have the same purpose that you did.
Like, this is real. The bottle is fake.
Yeah.
Ever let anybody take your power from you?
Thank you, George.
Yeah, thanks.
You
bro.
have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did. Don't you ever let anybody take
But there's
your power
another one
from
that's
you.
even better. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, the one where they actually...
Oh yeah, she's laughing. She gets up and she pukes into the plants.
No.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I found it. I'm going to send it to you right now, Poseidon. I just found it. Yeah. Okay, I just sent it to you. It's really good. It's even better. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Nah, that's crazy.
Yeah, there she is drinking the martini. Yeah. It's too good. Here she is.
Is it that one?
Yeah.
Is this real?
No, I don't know.
You,
Oh no, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, let it go.
But it's so well done.
Yeah.
friends, you called in favors. You said, hey, I showed up at your softball game. Now I need you to show up at the campaign office. The election didn't turn out like we wanted it to.
She's...
Oh fuck.
It gets
Certainly
better.
not as we planned for it to.
smashed.
Understand that the work we put into it was about empowering people. That's the spirit with the work we did.
What? It's so
How
well
fucking
done.
great is that?
So well done.
Nah.
Oh my goodness.
That's funny.
So yeah, she looked terrible. She looked terrible.
Yeah.
Guys, let's understand one thing. Can we agree that there is no one left controlling the White House? Like who's in charge?
Some intern.
Who's in charge?
Yeah, interns are taking the. It's your turn today, Timmy.
Oh, hey, what about Biden
Pardoning
his son?
Yeah.
Let's be honest here. Okay, let's put aside, Democrats, Republicans, whatever. You are the president. Your son has, he's had, a questionable past. He's been to court. There's all these allegations.
Yeah,
he's been accused, whatever.
He's a drug addict. He's a
Do
whoremonger.
you pardon him? It's your son.
He could go to prison. He faces, I don't know what exactly the charges are, but I know that he was facing prison time. I don't know. Yeah, do you pardon him? I don't know. It would.
Let's remind everybody that Biden said that he would absolutely not pardon.
Repeatedly.
Yeah.
Repeatedly. It was, it was part of his until he got shoved out of the way in favor of Kamala Harris. It was basically part of his campaign. I'm a man of integrity and the law. No one is above the law. But then when push came to shove, boom, he gave him his pardon. And so, the two sides. On the right, you have people saying, "You big fat fucking liar," and also saying, "We knew all along." If you'd had to be stupid not to know that he's lying and he's going to give him a pardon. And then on the left, it's being portrayed, well, this is a father who loves his son dearly. And
It's touchy though. I mean, it's I don't know what I would do.
Well, he also gave a pardon that extends to anything that happened back to 2014. And there's an element of it that I don't know the details of, but Hunter, there are allegations that, and this is all tied in with Ukraine and the 10% for the big guy.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Don't forget 10% for the big guy. And Joe was supposedly the big guy. Basically, it's a money laundering thing where the Bidens really allegedly lined their pockets big time, and Hunter was the guy who was making it happen. And this pardon for anything that happened back to 2014 would cover the time period when this money laundering was supposedly going on. So it stinks. It's being spun as this is a father who loves his son, but at the same time, this is me being cynical, it stinks.
I feel so sorry for that press secretary that's going to have to come out and say.
Karine Jean-Pierre? Yeah. I like her. She's cute.
Yeah,
it's too bad she's a lesbian. I'd take a run at that.
But I can't understand how these people do their job. One day you say one thing, the next day the complete opposite. I think the counterbalance to what happened with pardoning his son is if at the very end, like the day before, or a couple days before the end of his presidency, he pardons Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You think that would be a possibility?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Although, well, maybe just to rub the Democratic Party's nose in it even more.
Or just to listen, guys, let's fucking bury the hatchet. That would be the line I would use. I'm like, let's bury the hatchet. We got to bring back civility.
Yeah. Well, also, part of Biden's argument for pardoning Hunter was that it was malicious prosecution. They wouldn't have gone after him that hard, except that he's my son.
That's not true, but anyway.
It was your Department of Justice who was going after him, the same way they went after Trump.
Yeah.
If anyone had lawfare practiced against them, it was Trump. But like I say, Biden didn't look when Trump went to visit the White House after winning the election. Biden was sitting there with a big shit-eating grin on his face, because he didn't. It's abundantly clear to me that he didn't want to. He didn't step aside gracefully.
No,
he was shoved aside. He was told, "You're not running. You're done," and he didn't like it. He wasn't happy about it, and Jill didn't like it either. She liked being the first lady.
You can see it in her face. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
So I think when Trump won, I think that I don't think the Bidens were disappointed when Trump won. And for him to pardon Donald Trump, that would be the ultimate fuck you to the people who shoved him out of the way. So that's a good point. I never thought of that. That'd be a fucking dandy.
Look, give me my son. I'll give you Justin Trudeau. I'll give you Donald Trump. Let's put a little give and take here. You know, I pardon my son, but I'll also pardon your fucking shithead president. Yeah, kind of thing.
That's interesting.
Oh,
well, we got a month and change to find out if that could happen.
I want to talk a little bit about something that happened in Quebec, and I think it's about freaking time that goes.
The Canadians won a game?
That was an exciting game last night.
It was, it was a good game, and it was Patrick Laine was back. And
what a difference it makes in the fucking game.
He scored the Canadians' first goal. He was named the first star. It was a nice night. It was a feel good night at the Bell Center. Sorry, that's not what you wanted to talk about.
But we've spoken about many times, the riots and the whole issue linked with the war in the Middle East with Israel and Hamas. And, we spoke about the occupations on the university campuses and all that shit, and things that keep happening here in Quebec and across Canada. And to my surprise, and, this is a good thing, Quebec's higher education minister, Pascal Derry, came out and said that they're going to start investigating to the Dawson and Vanier CEGEPs because they've been getting a lot of complaints about from students who feel unsafe in their schools and in the school environment. They're worried about their
Jewish students. Are we talking about
in general? But I'm assuming it's mostly Jewish students with all these things happening on campus. They refer to certain. I think it's in. Vanier, I think, where a math teacher showed a documentary about the Palestinian state in class, And it's like, dude,
Which has fuck all to do with math.
you're a fucking math
And
teacher.
I don't care what you're teaching. That's not the time and place.
Yeah, what are you doing? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of insecurity. So she's launching an investigation.
I'm surprised Concordia is not included.
Well, that's my thing. I'm like, why aren't you opening this up to universities as well?
Yeah.
Because clearly the shit that's been going on in Concordia,
Concordia is a hotbed of anti-Semitism.
it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And you saw the other day, they brought this guy from Israel. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I saw that story last night. Yehud, I know who you mean.
Yeah.
He's a Christian, an Arab Israeli Christian.
Yeah.
And he's very vocal and pro-Israel, and he travels around and he speaks. And yeah, they blocked him from speaking.
Finally, they managed to get the demonstrators away, and they let the people in that wanted to attend the conference. Everything was fine until about an hour before it started. The dean of students came in and canceled the whole thing.
Yeah.
And
did
the
you
video
see,
I
did
saw,
you see him confronting her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
she
she
just
just
walked
walked
away.
away. Yeah.
like, what the fuck are you doing? What's happening in our universities?
Disgusting.
And I'm not saying this because I'm pro-Israel. If the Palestinian movement wants to bring an Arab to have a serious conversation and a discussion about their point of view, I don't mind. Do it, as long as it happens peacefully and there's no there's no violence, there isn't any fucking hate, and there aren't people wearing masks breaking shit. As long as it doesn't incite violence, bring it. This is a discussion.
Yeah, it's important, I think,
that's fine.
to hear all points of view.
It's sad that this is happening in a university of all places where this is what you need. You want this. You want your students to be free thinkers and to be organizing these things. Why not? As long as it's done in a civil manner. And she just walked away. You saw it, like I wanted to break my phone, man. It's like, what the hell? Yeah. So I hope that Pascal Derry extends this to universities. It's about time, because I'm convinced there's a lot of students going to universities that have nothing to do with this, that probably don't give a shit about this, that just want to get through their education and they want to put this. They want to get their diploma and move on with their lives, and they can't. Yeah. Why? Because they're sitting in class and you have a bunch of fucking idiots trying to break in to disrupt the classrooms.
Yeah. People who couldn't find Israel on a fucking map in many instances. I'll bet you. Terry and I, interestingly, last week, and we generally steer clear of controversy. We try to keep our podcast, Standing By the Terry and Ted podcast, light. Apolitical. But we talked about it, and we thought it was important because we have so many friends. And as Terry said, not only they're not just in the Jewish community in Montreal, and Montreal's Jewish community is substantial and has deep historical roots and is important and integral to the city. Like Montreal wouldn't be a Montreal without our Jewish community. And we came out on our podcast and expressed solidarity with and support for the Jewish community. And we were inundated with messages from people in the Jewish community saying, thank you for standing up for us. Yeah. And we wish more people would take a stand. We did not get one single piece of email or social media feedback that was negative. Not one bit. Yeah. It was all overwhelmingly positive feedback. Yeah. And I thought that spoke volumes. I think there's a silent majority, and it's the same to me as with the trans thing. There's a silent majority of people who they're just too afraid to say anything because they don't want to end up being perceived as being on the wrong side of a debate. But I'm hoping that worm is turning in just generally speaking, that people shouldn't be afraid, no matter what side of an issue you're on, you shouldn't be afraid to speak up. When we get to a place where people are afraid to speak out, that's not a good place to be at.
And it's concerning to me that very little has been done. When you're seeing the violence across Canada, I mean, Toronto is just horrible. Toronto is just, it's a mess. It's a mess. I hate, referencing Rebel News because I don't necessarily agree with what they say and the news that they report on. It's a little too much for me, But Ezra Levant, who is the
I know who
who's
you
in
mean.
charge
Yeah.
of Rebel News, he went. I can't remember which neighborhood in
It's
Toronto.
Bathurst and Shepherd. It's a very. I've lived in Toronto. It's a very Jewish neighborhood.
You have all these goddamn idiots demonstrating in Jewish neighborhoods. Some idiot
Pro-Palestinian demonstrating. They're provocateurs, is what they are. They're trying. They're
reproducing the scene of whatever his name was, who died on that couch. You know, you remember with the drone? They went in the building, the leader of Hamas, and they have a couch over there, and he sits on it, acting, you know. And there's a huge demonstration, and he went to the demonstration as a reporter. And the police kicked him out because he's Jewish, and they said, leave from here because you're causing an issue. What the? Look, the Jew is causing you're kicking me out because I'm Jewish, and instead of picking up this garbage from our street and letting me circulate freely.
Yeah.
How much sense
This
does
happened
that
in
make?
Montreal. It happened to I think he's a rabbi in Montreal. He was downtown. He had his kippah on, and he was near a pro-Palestinian demonstration, and the cops told him to leave. You're going to provoke people. You got to leave.
Pick up the fucking garbage off our streets and let me walk freely. Yeah. Because that's my God-given right.
100%.
That's what should be happening.
Yeah.
And the demonstrations that we didn't have an episode last week to talk about it, but was it a week and a half ago, where there was
2 weekends ago,
massive demonstration downtown Montreal,
and it was
broke everything, fires. It was just
framed.
a mess.
It was framed as an anti-NATO protest, but that wasn't what.
Are you kidding me, man?
Yeah, it was
anti-NATO.
It was a pro-Palestinian, anti-Jew or anti-Israel, and
a day after the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for the arrest of Netanyahu.
Yeah.
They fucking stormed the streets, breaking everything down, and the cops just couldn't do anything. And the explanation from the chief of police was like, listen, when you have these guys, he's partly right, because in what was supposed to be a peaceful demonstration where you have people that showed up, you know, with their kids and thinking that it's going to be a peaceful demonstration, and then suddenly, well, it's not suddenly, but you have all these guys that got involved, that
the
were
black
there,
bloc,
that were there purposely to break shit and put things.
They're basically
flames. How are you going to react? Like, how are you going to move in and take these guys down or stop them and not hurting the innocent bystanders? But at the same time, how is an innocent bystander next to the guy breaking fucking windows and putting shit up in flames? Why are you there?
Yeah.
Why are you bringing kids to this sort of demonstration where you should know that it's going to get out of hand? And the fact to me that there's only been 3 arrests made in the last 2 weeks is ridiculous. Yeah. Ridiculous.
And for the head of the SPVM, and I think Mayor Plante as well, both said that this demonstration had nothing to do with anti-Semitism. Give me a fucking break.
Are you what?
Yeah.
I didn't even hear that. That's what they said?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Don't insult my intelligence.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
All these Nazi slogans, and I'm glad that second cup story, and we're not going to repeat it. I mean, everybody knows it by now, where they kicked him out. Fuck you, good. Yeah,
it was a woman who was the franchisee at the Second Cup in the Jewish General Hospital of all places. Yeah, and she was at the demonstration.
I feel bad for her part because she wasn't alone. It wasn't her business. I think she was partnered with a few other people. I feel bad for them.
Yeah,
because they partnered with a fucking lunatic that made them lose their business.
Yeah. And typically, and you know, this is just part of life on social media. Typically, people on social media go, "No, she's a Jewish plant. She's a Jew. Yeah, she's Mossad." Fuck off.
That's so fucking
Gad Sad gets that a lot. You know who I mean by Gad Sad? I do too. Yeah. He's a professor at Concordia, although he's taken a leave from Concordia.
He doesn't feel safe going into teaching.
Yeah.
This is a tenured professor that can't go and do his job.
Yeah, but he's brilliant. And he doesn't filter himself at all. He says what's on his mind, and he says what he thinks.
Well, he fucking hates academia. He thinks they're all nutheads.
Yeah, and he's Jewish from Lebanon.
Yeah,
and a refugee from the Lebanese Civil War in the 1970s. And and they the people who don't like him, they all say he's Mossad.
Wouldn't that be fun though if you were?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, I
He's
really
an
enjoy
agent.
following him though because he doesn't give a fuck. Eh?
The sarcasm.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Gad
yeah, yeah.
Saad is
He's so-
if anyone loves sarcasm, follow Gad Saad.
Yeah, he's smart and he's funny. He had an article in the New York Post this week talking about the basic theme of it was my beloved Montreal has turned into a cesspool of anti-Semitism.
He's not wrong.
No, he's not.
He's not wrong at all. And it's not just Montreal. It's the major cities, Vancouver, Toronto. It's happening. It's happening everywhere. Things are out of control. Nothing is being done, and there's absolutely no leadership on this matter.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely
again,
no leadership.
I'm hoping that the election of Trump is going to mark a reversal of the pendulum on multiple accounts, including the whole transgender insanity and Israel and Palestine.
Did you see his tweet about the hostages?
Yes.
I mean,
And I liked it.
can it get more
Yeah.
direct than that?
Yeah.
Release the hostages before January, and I'm paraphrasing here for everyone listening or watching. Release the hostage before January 20th, or God help you.
Yeah, it was like you're going to see. Yeah, the U.S. is going to make moves in the Middle East like you've never seen before.
Yeah.
Well, I like that. I like that kind of leadership.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't fuck around.
Yeah.
He doesn't tiptoe.
Yeah.
Well, let's fucking go. You need that kind of leadership in times like these. And, we've said this before. I know he was a bully and he's a blowhard, but sometimes it takes a bully and a blowhard to get things done and to get issues resolved.
Yeah. I want to finish on our final topic. There's a new bill that was passed at the National Assembly this week, Bill 83 from the Health Minister. And this, I'm really curious to get your take on this. We all know that there's a crisis in the health sector in Quebec. We have no doctors because of the lack of resources in the public system. All these doctors have transferred their practice into private practices. My family doctor did that. I have to pay $300 to go see him now every time.
Wow.
And you know what? On one hand, I'm like, good for you, buddy. Because you haven't made enough money. But whatever, man. He's at the end of his career. He's probably going to retire soon. Okay, I get it. But on the other side, it's like my parents who had the exact same family doctor can't go see him anymore. I'm fucking $300, and they're more need than I am, which I go maybe once every year and a half, not even, whenever I remember. My parents probably go see him more often because they're older, right?
Yeah.
So they're stuck now going to the public service where things are a mess. Anyway, and one solution that the health minister, Christian Dubé, thought would help is to force the new medical students, upon entry into their program, to sign an agreement that says that upon graduating as a doctor, you are forced to work in Quebec in the public healthcare industry or department, whatever, for at least 5 years. And if you don't, there's going to be heavy penalties, and we're talking about massive amounts per day. We're talking about $50,000, $100,000 per day or per act. So it's huge. I mean, nobody's going to risk losing that much money per day.
So you're telling me we need doctors, and our doctors here, they're not happy because of the conditions, and that's how we fix it, is by making them suffer more.
Not the existing doctors. So let's say now you were going to medical school, you would have to sign an agreement with the government that says that when you graduate and become a practicing, medical professional, you cannot practice anywhere else but the private sector, but the public sector for at least 5 years.
And how's that going to help?
He's keeping the doctors.
What if they just move to another province?
I don't know. These are the questions that I have. Can you move?
I don't know. I got no problem with.
Of course.
I got no problem given the state of the healthcare system and the shortage of family doctors. I'm not necessarily against the idea of mandating graduating medical students into working for a period of time in the public sector, but to fine them tens of thousands of dollars if they don't. there's got to be a better way.
I got an idea.
I don't know how that's
got an
gonna.
idea.
I don't know how that's gonna work with the unions. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
Number one, and number two, what was I gonna say? Oh God, I forgot what I was gonna say. So go ahead.
I got a better idea because they're doing the punishment method. What if we rewarded people for staying in the public sector?
Yeah.
What if we said anyone that really wants to become a doctor in Quebec, you know what? They only get taxed 10% on their salary, or 5%, or they don't get any Quebec
If you're working
tax.
in the public sector.
you're
give
working
them
in the public
incentives
sector.
rather than threaten to punish them.
You know what?
That's-
Quebec.
that's smart.
Yeah, Quebec no longer taxes medical staff. That goes for paramedics, nurses, doctors, everyone. That would create a surge of people in the public sector.
Yeah.
Because now they don't have to pay taxes. Now a doctor on a salary of 130,000, how much do they make? How much does a
More
doctor
than
make?
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that was like 10 years ago. Okay, hold on. No, let's talk about this
I
seriously.
think it's
Doctor
at least 300 grand.
salary,
I would
Quebec.
think.
Depends. It depends what you do, what specialty. and-
Yeah, I know. it depends.
I'm lucky. I went and saw my family doctor the other day for my annual physical, which I have every 5 years or so. And he's my age. And I said,
Okay. So
if you retire, what am I going to do? And he said, don't worry about it. I'm not retiring. I love what I do.
So look, the average is 214,000. The 75th percentile, so meaning a quarter of the doctors make 260,000, and the real top earners make 390,000. But let's stay with the average of $214,000 a year. Right now, you have to pay what on that salary? 15% federal, and about another
At that salary, they're losing 46%.
Yeah.
more. 214, but it's about 52 actually.
Whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say half.
Let's say half. I think it's 20% on the federal level, and I think it's like another 30-something% on the provincial level. If you look at the brackets, I
Yeah.
don't have the brackets in front of me right
It's,
now.
it's around 50%. Yeah. It's around half.
It's around there. It's almost half. Now imagine if they get to keep 35% of their salary.
No, I get it. It's
35%. What is that of 214,000?
How
That's of 214,000. 35% is what? It's 35.
It's about 60 grand.
70 grand.
Yeah.
It's 70 grand. Now imagine new doctors, or even existing doctors, to come back into the public sector, got to keep an extra $70,000 a year.
There's a lot of pros and cons with this decision, and the one that
I would go into medical school just to,
I'd
I'd be like, what?
But it would. I doubt that they probably didn't look into an incentive like that. So I don't know why.
I highly doubt
came
that
out.
they did.
I don't know. But at the same time, when you look at the government side, you come to Quebec, you study medicine at a relatively low fucking cost. You know what I mean? And then you end up making millions of dollars. You come here, you graduate as a medical student, and then you go off into the private sector and you're making millions. And it costs me money to fucking train you, but then you're not giving back to me, right? Who's going to take care of me now?
Yeah, there's got to be a fair solution.
So that's it. So I just wanted to have your thoughts on that. We'll see what happens. I don't know if it passed or if he proposed it and they're going to debate on it. In any case, it's a majority government. Chances are that it's going to pass. But the healthcare system is on life support right now. All right, guys. Thank you all. Well, fuck, you were fucking 10 minutes late to start to begin with. So thank you all so much for tuning in, guys. We appreciate you. Head on over to patreon.com/Pantelis. Get yourself a plan. Support the man. He's busy. He's putting out content. He's touring. He's doing his comedy. He's doing great stuff out there. Poseidon, I'm Poseidon69, theposeidon.com for his stuff. You can follow.
I no longer have a website for the time being. It was not serving me a purpose.
So theposeidon69 on all socials, and he's got the intellectuals with a bunch of retarded people. Ted Bird, ladies and gentlemen, every Wednesday morning, the Standing By Terry and Ted podcast.
The new episode is on YouTube. I don't know if it's on Spotify or
I'll check right now.
Yeah, Poseidon's going to fix that.
Small technical issues this morning, guys. Bear with us. It's going to be up. And if you know or understand French, head on over to Politiquement Parlant. A bunch of interesting guests that we've had.
Head on over even if you don't know or understand French. I watch it to learn French.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much. Take care. We'll see you next week. Ciao, bye.